Today's topic for discussion is coffee plant. Coffee plant, it is a very common throughout the world. Coffee is non-alcoholic beverage, and this, let us see the photograph of coffee plant. This is the photograph of coffee, and let us see the origin of coffee plant. There are 90 species. There are reports of about the 90 species of coffee in the world, and out of which only 4 are very important from the view of beverages. Most of the species are native of Africa, and the coffee arabica is the only polyploid species, and the arabica type of coffee was indigenous to southwestern Ethiopia in the northeastern Africa. The arabica type of coffee that spread to Yemen it is a country, in the 14th and 15th century. From Yemen it first spread to the Malabar coast of India and then to Sri Lanka and Indonesia. It was introduced in Arabia, that is Arabia, only 500 years ago. This coffee reached to pilgrims and traders via Turkey to Europe in the 16th and 17th century respectively. The plant was introduced in Sri Lanka, India and Indonesia by 1700, and in the year 1700, and in West Indies it has spread in 1720, and in Brazil in 1770. These are the years when the coffee has been introduced in those countries. It was carried to USA in the 19th century. The cane flora coffee, it is a diploid species. It has its center of origin in central and western equatorial Africa. It was introduced into Southeast Asia, that is Indonesia. That time only 20 plants were sent to Indonesia about 80 years ago from Zaire. This is the name of country. Let us see the botanical description of the coffee plant. Botanical characteristics of coffee plant. Coffee plant belongs to the family Rubiaceae. The 3 different kinds of coffee are the coffee which are very common throughout the world. That coffee plants are Coffea robusta, and it is commonly called as Congo coffee, and Coffea liberica. This is commonly called as Liberian coffee, and Coffea arabica. This is commonly called as Arabian coffee. It is the source of best quality coffee and accounts for 90% of the total world production of coffee. The coffee plant is a shrub. It is a small tree or shrub or small tree with a height of 15 to 50 feet. The leaves are oppositely arranged. The attachment of leaf is at opposite, having dark green in color. The flowers of coffee plant, they are white in color and they are axillary and appear 2 or 3 times in a year. The fruits are reddish, 2-seeded. 2 seeds are present in fruit, and sometimes only 1 seed occurs in a fruit. Fruit is a drupe type of fruit occurs in that. That is the fruit. And the mesocarp of the coffee berries, while endocarp is thin membranous. The leaves and the fruits contain caffeine. Caffeine, it is an alkaloid. Okay, 1 or 2% caffeine occurs in the leaves and fruits. The green seeds contain 34% cellulose, 8% chlorogenic acid, 10 to 13% oil, 7% sugar, 14% protein and 12% water and some other components. Let us see how the coffee plants are cultivated, how the coffee plants are grown in the field. Let us see the details. The growth of the coffee plants, they grow better and or they require a heighted land, and they will grow very best on the highlands of the height of 4,500 feet or so on. On the other hand, they can grow on the plains as well as on high altitudes up to 6,000 feet. They like moderate temperature, they require moderate temperature and frequent mists of the hills, that is moist climate, that require sometimes moist climate. They grow best on fertile soil. Well drained soil is more favorable. The seeds are sown first in a seed beds. The seedlings are transplanted in the rows about 9 feet apart. The distance between two plants must be 9 feet. The plant bears fruits from third year after sowing. After sowing, the plant grow, and after 3 years it bears fruits and continues to do about 20 to 30 years continuously every year, that produces fruits up to 25 to 30 years. Planting, pruning and picking of the berries are all done by hand. Picking is done when the fruits are fully ripe. They may be stripped off or be allowed to fall down on the ground. They are then winnowed by throwing them in air. This is all about the cultivation of coffee. Let us see the planting, pruning and picking. Planting, pruning and picking of the berries are all done by hand. Picking is done when the fruits are fully ripe. Berries may be stripped off or be allowed to fall down on the ground. Okay, let us see the preparation of coffee, how the coffee is prepared. Coffee can be prepared by two methods, that is number 1 dry method and number 2 wet method. Let us see. In the dry method, the coffee berries are dried in open. The dried skin and pulp are separated from the seeds by mechanical means or by hand or by motors. And in the wet method, the fruits are taken to the flotation tank where the ripe berries float and debris including the pulp sticking to the are removed by controlled fermentation over a 12 to 24 hours period. Seeds are then thoroughly washed in water and are sprayed on mat and in the open land, and it has dried. The bristle dry husk of that endocarp is removed by machines, and the silver skin is removed by polishing the greenish grey seeds and grinded and then usually packed for export purpose. The coffee beans are roasted at 500 Faradays, that is for 5 minutes. Due to roasting, the color of seeds changes from green to brown because of roasting, and the roasting causes in the development of particular aroma, that is essential oil and caffeol, that gives the coffee its specific flavor. The aromas are due to some volatile material that present in the seeds. Okay, the water soluble constituents increase to 35%. The chlorogenic acid is partly hydrolyzed, not caffeic acid, and quinic acids. These three acids, along with trigonelline, are responsible for the better and astringent taste of the coffee, and organic acids like tartaric, citric, and malic acids cause the coffee acidic taste. Roasting and grinding are done only few days before consumption of the coffee, otherwise it loses the flavor and the oils become rancid. The coffee from different sources are tested by a coffee tester for blending them into a particular kind. The roasted coffee beans have 0.5 to 1.5% caffeine as alkaloid. It is a alkaloid. And let us see, commercial coffee that contain 0.8 to 1.8% caffeine, instant coffee that contain 4.4% caffeine. 1 cup of coffee roughly contains 100 milligrams of caffeine. Caffeine acts on the central nervous system. Caffeine occurs in coffee seeds. It prevents drowsiness and fatigue. It relaxes the muscles to bronchial tube. It has an overall effect. Coffee has an overall effect on the cardiovascular system. Let us see the hazards of the coffee caffeine. The caffeine, a type of alkaloid which occurs in the seeds of coffee. Let us see the hazards. What are the bad effects of the coffee? Harmful effects of the coffee. There are more than 10,000 scientific reports about the undesirable effects of coffee, non-required effects of coffee. The alkaloids causes several health hazards. The addiction to coffee is such that stoppage of the drink results in headache, irritability, and sometimes nausea. Luckily, addiction to caffeine can be got rid of in few days. Excess of the caffeine can spoil nervous system of the person. The restless leg syndrome of psychiatric patients has now been partly attributed to the excess intake of the coffee. Excess of caffeine causes overexcitement, insomnia, mild headache, sensory disturbance such as ringing in the ears and flashes right, restlessness. These are the harmful effects. Several heart diseases, peptic ulcers, tumors, and birth defects takes place due to excess intake of the caffeine. Caffeine, it is an alkaloid which occurs in the coffee. Caffeine is more harmful to children since they cannot eliminate it as fast as an adult can. This is all about the harmful effects of coffee. Let us see the uses of the coffee. Economic importance of the coffee. It is a commercial crop. It is a cash crop. This coffee that treats bronchial asthma. It is diuretic, that is causes increased production of urine. The waste produces pulp and parchment are used as fertilizer and fuel. Coffee relieves fatigue and stimulates the physical and mental activities. Coffee is used in treatment of cases of poisoning caused by alcohol and morphine. This is the economic importance of coffee. There are several uses of coffee. Thank you very much. Save trees, save earth.